Part 3 of this aRT bELL. I'm leaving the line because you won't turn your radio down. Now let that be a little. Turn your radio down and keep it down. As long as you're talking to me, you're on the air. Trust me, you don't need to hear yourself. And if you need to hear yourself, then you don't need to be on the air. Most of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Are you on delay?
Yes.
Okay.
The delay is for the sake of my career. So if you say something horrible, I can push a button.
I'll turn off the cursor.
Thank you.
And we're talking about vampires then, right? It's
It
not
would
like-
appear so, yes.
Okay. I'm not a vampire or anything, but
You promise.
promise.
Are you the victim of one?
No. I just have always been really, I mean, like, I was always really fascinated with the fact that you could live forever. I guess.
You are that. You are a potential.
I would probably guess it. I mean, you know, I'm kind of upset that we died. You know, there's things that I want to know. And if I don't find out now,
Well, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I follow what you're saying. Of course you're upset that you died. We have a very short amount of time here, and there's a lot going on, and who wants to miss out on all of that, right?
exactly, yeah.
Now, if you were to learn that the taking of another's blood as sustenance, or as my last caller put it, feeding, would allow you to remain around for up to 600 years or longer, would you do it? Be honest.
Yeah, I would. As long as it wouldn't, I wouldn't kill. I wouldn't kill a person, but, you know, if they would willingly.
Willingly?
Yeah, if they would let me, yeah, I would. I mean, if they were okay with it.
Well, but how many people are going to be okay with that? You know, you
Obviously there are. I mean, you know, there are people out there right now that, I mean, that, I don't know how delayed this is, but, you know, that guy that was just
not
on.
that delayed.
Okay, well, that guy that was just on, you know, he has a partner that, you know, lets him do that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll tell you, when the good doctor was on,
that's why,
the doctor he criticized unduly, I thought. The doctor said that most people believe it is connected sexually. There's a big sexual connection. So I would imagine if you had a partner,
probably be part of it, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't even have to, yeah, I would, I really, if I could live, you know, and then if I stopped.
Even if you knew that your partner was going to grow old and gray and decrepit while you remained young and beautiful.
You know, that would be sad.
Sad, but not something you could not overcome.
Right, yeah, I mean, that would be, you know, if they were willing, I would. You know, and then if I didn't want to live anymore, I would just stop. You know, I mean, if that's how it goes.
Deteriorate with a picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I kind of got tired of it, so well, I'm tired now, and.
Suppose you had to virtually live at night. Of course, it's very much my time right now. You're starting to night person anyway, so it wouldn't bother you.
No, I actually am a night person. You know, I mean, I just always have been very nocturnal, but, you know, I'm not going to go around and ask people if I can drink water. So, I mean, I don't, you know, but I've always just, I remember seeing, you know, oh, you know, Bella Lugosi, you know,
Yes.
and just the idea of living for that long, no, yeah, that's what it feels to me.
Well, you sound very much like a potential mechanic.
No, I don't think they're gonna really do it though. I mean, if it was common or something, then I could live forever, you know, maybe I miss it. I don't think it's real. No,
You don't think so?
no, I believe that, you know, that killed, that, you know, hundreds of years ago, that he killed things to people and that's how he.
That's not a legend. That's a legend. Well, the only thing that makes me think there might be something to it is the Claire Sylvia interview and others that I've done that indicate that there is something that transfers in, no doubt, blood and organs when they're transferred from one person to another. There is something to that.
Well, yeah, I really just been listening to you these past few nights, and so I'm really sorry that I missed out on, all these interviews.
Well, keep listening.
I will.
You'll learn. And then if you decide to enter the world of vampires, why I definitely want to call back from you. I want to call back from you either way, all right?
Well, I just have one kind of question that do you get another vampire on the phone? Okay, what do they do about these diseases? I mean, better blood transfer? I mean, doesn't that hinder their vitality? The AIDS and the hepatitis?
All kinds of awful things.
Yeah, could you ask them?
But it may be that when you digest blood, rather than having a blood-to-blood transfer, it's very different. I don't know.
I
Just
don't
don't
know.
know. But I will ask the next vampire I get. All right?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, and safe vampirism to you if that is the road you decide to travel. East Rockies, you're on the air. Hi. Yes.
Quite often the hunters are also the hunted.
Are you one of the hunted?
No, I am one of the hunters.
You're a vampire.
No, I hunt the vampires.
Oh, you're a vampire hunter.
That is correct. That is my father, my grandfather.
It's a family tradition.
It always is.
How does one hunt or detect and then hunt a vampire? How?
There are telling signs of people at certain times that you can tell what they are. They are marks that are visible to only people who do hunt them. And as an answer to the question that the woman had about the diseases,
Yes.
vampires are immune to almost everything.
Figures.
Do you know if a man has ever affected them? And they don't live forever, but they live longer than a normal human.
Well, that seems to be what I'm getting away from just about everybody. You are an actual, would you call yourself a professional vampire hunter?
I wouldn't say professional.
Career?
I have another job, but I also do that at night.
Isn't that dangerous work?
Extremely.
What would a vampire do that you have cornered? I mean, you get a vampire cornered, you've got some trouble, no doubt.
Well, if you can catch one by themselves, which is hard to do, for the usually do come with pairs, often male and female, to protect one another.
Sure.
Since I only go by myself, because only until I'm dead will my son take over from me.
So are you grooming your son now?
He's an athlete. It's born to each one of us. I'm about 6'4", I weigh 245 pounds. I was an athlete.
Well, that helps.
I have, I would say, better than average instinct.
What is it about New Orleans and vampires?
That's a good question. But my parents came over here, his parents did, in the early 1800s, followed him. So voodoo is heavy here. I don't do anything as far as that goes, but if the need arises, I guess I'd have to do that to stop them.
How many vampires have you tracked down and
Eliminated?
yes?
Between 8 and 10, let's say.
Is the traditional method of elimination the one that is used? I refer, of course, to the
Same
same.
to the heart. No, it's not.
It's not.
You can eliminate them that way, but that is not the best way to do it. It's very hard to ask them to sit still while you attempt to do that.
So then what does a vampire hunter do?
Normally, you take the head, separate it from the body any way possible. Then you bury them by the feet.
I'm sorry?
You have to bury them by the head, by the feet.
What do you mean by the head, by the feet?
Well, when you put them back, you have to bury them after you eliminate them. That's the must, because if you don't, then they can regenerate.
Regenerate. So you bury the head separate from the body?
It has to be in another container down by the feet.
Oh, I see.
Stuff them out full of garlic.
Yes.
And that's the end of them.
And you've actually done this, I'm sorry, how many times?
I'd say between 8 and 10.
Do you view this as doing humanity a favor?
Yeah. If you've seen the things I've seen, you'd say it was a great favor to lots of unsuspecting people.
Well, let's have it straight. What have you seen?
I've seen more than one mutilation. The town right now is under grip of a mass murderer that you don't even get to hear about. 12 women so far in the last 2 years disappeared, supposedly bludgeoned to death with a hammer, which is what
When you say the town, do you mean New Orleans?
Yes, I do.
And you think this person is a vampire?
I know this is a fact. I've seen the pictures of 3 of the victims. I knew of one personally. Taken right off the streets of New Orleans, but the police will not talk about it.
Well, of course not. Do vampires know that there are people like you out there?
Oh, yes. And they know that we're after them as much as they're after everyone else. As far as the person who called and said he got a girlfriend,
Yep.
I don't know whether he's telling the truth or not.
What about the first guy?
Yeah, I believe him.
Really? Well, he said that, cyclically every 27, 28 days, he's got teeth.
Well, plus he said he was down south in the swamp.
Yeah.
I believe I know who that is.
Oh, really? Have you been after this person?
Well, he's about 150 miles away from me, more or less. I will get eventually that way when I'm finished here, if I can find the person who's doing this.
Are you driven to do this? Is it something you're doing for humanity, for your own personal satisfaction? Why do you go after them?
Both. Protect my family, protect the people out there, the same as being a policeman.
A vampire cop.
I do.
Listen, do you want to hold on the line? I might be able to round up a vampire here. It'll be interesting to hear you and a vampire interact. Okay, now we're paying for the call, so I'll put you on hold. All right? All right. Let's check it there.
Going down to Georgia, he was looking for a soul to steal. The mind looking way behind, he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man, saw him filled and playing it high. And the devil jumped up on a hickory jumps and boy, let's take it off. You know what, but I'm a little player too. If you guarantee your dad, I'll make a bet with you. You play pretty good fiddle, boy. Give the devil his due. I bet fiddle is gold against your soul. So got there you. So my name's Johnny, and that might be a sin. But I'll take your bet. You're going to reject. I'm a best of everything.
Your site goes and reach our bill at 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Here again, our bell.
There again, I am. You know that if you have web TV, you can go to my website and drop it as a road market and buy ART stock. And soon you really enroll ART stock. It's going to be a heavy buying weekend, I should say. You can go there and trade stock. Or you can buy like $1 stock or $1 stock or Schlesinger stock or Howard Stern stock or all kinds of stock. Kind of cool, kind of fun. So over there is buy my stock. Turned me into a multimillionaire of paper. All right, here we go again. Now, first, we go back to the vampire hunter. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have somebody claiming to be, of course, a vampire. You never know until you really get into the conversation, but are you there?
Yeah.
All right, you claim to be a vampire, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Vampire Hunter, why don't you ask him some questions to try and determine if he's the real McCoy?
The greatest myth about the vampire that is misconstrued by everyone for the last 300 or 400 years.
You need to be a little more specific to that.
What's the one thing besides blood a vampire needs? What is the one thing that vampire needs? Besides blood, the vampire needs.
Don't let that bugger sound now.
I was emptying out of the sunlight. Well, right off the bat, he's falling.
Alright,
The light is out. Vampires are gonna die in the sunlight.
yeah, I blew them off. What do they do?
They can exist in the sunlight in the weakened state. They're not super powerful people like you see in the movies that can throw a person 40 yards in the air, but they can kill you with one hand.
One hand.
Or they can break your neck.
Well, that's
Parts
what,
of your body are easily obtainable if people know what they're doing.
that's
Strength.
well, that's what I was gonna say, super strength.
They're not like Superman, but they have a above average strength. But, so,
Alright, let's see if we got another one here. Do we have a vampire on the line?
yeah.
Yes, you're a vampire.
Yes.
Alright, well, I have a vampire hunter here.
Oh, I've been listening.
Does that intimidate you?
Not one bit. I've killed them all before.
You've killed a vampire hunter?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Alright, well,
I'm not intimidated. Where did you do this? In California, the east or west? In California, where I live. What year? 2 years ago. How many? 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. In fact, I knew what he was in a minute, and I went home with him just to kill him. That's very unusual. We would never go home with you. Well, taking you way before that. That guy was a little foolish, I guess. And I was by myself. I always travel by myself at night. One of our greatest features of art is purity of heart. Because we have to be, because what is the greatest weapon of a vampire?
he laughed at that.
I wear a cross my butt at night. I'm not intimidated by God. Religion isn't a stopper. I can't throw a cross up at a vampire. No, it doesn't bother me. God doesn't bother me. No belief.
It is a fooler, though. I mean, when you see a cross, you wouldn't think vampire right away.
No, you wouldn't. Like he said, you could find one of us, we can stop. I listened to the morning show. We're very young. He was. But he was bigger than me, so I guess he didn't think I was a threat to him. Well, it was not very big. Well, he was smaller than him, but I still beat him to death with my own hands.
You did?
Yes. And I don't know.
How many vampires do you think he had dispatched before you met him?
Maybe I was the first one he tried.
And what if you were to encounter this,
I wouldn't be the least bit scared of him.
no?
No. I spent 6 years in the U.S. Army. I know how to defend myself.
Well, it sounds to me like you end up with your head at your feet.
I don't think so. Oh, certainly, young man. We should arrange. I'm not older than I look. I don't look my age. I'm a lot older than I look. Most people think I'm in my 20s, but I'm older than that.
How old actually, physiologically are you?
60. I look like I'm in my 20s.
You have the wisdom of a 60-year-old.
But I look like I'm in my 20s.
Is this typical of a vampire?
Yes.
Think we might have a real thing here?
It's possible. I would think it was 60 or 60 older. Well, maybe I'm older. I don't know. But they don't live forever, but they do live longer.
Do you feed, and how often do you need to feed?
Well, only once a week, but I only kill one person as a vampire kill. I don't kill them people that I want to. I just take a little bit of it, but not, and I don't have to kill them. It's more realistic all the time, Mark.
Is he?
And I usually have sex with them when I'm doing that. That's why the greatest ally is sex. Yeah, because they are very seductive. I'm very good at sex, too. I mean, I'm very good at it. In fact, I'm very good at kissing, obviously. That's one of the things that love about me.
The mark of vampires are being a good kisser.
And I've actually grown up now, kissing in public at clubs and race places and stuff, and it's really good. Most of them different dollars.
You know, he is starting to sound pretty real. You go after somebody like this person.
I never killed anyone except that one fool that wanted to kill me. And I figured somebody, you know, actually defend yourself. I figured it would focus up. I would take his head and
Put it at his feet.
I feel like Eddie of your brother, that was the same thing before they went down. Well, most vampires aren't intimidated by something. I mean, violence doesn't scare me at all.
I have a question for each of us, one of you. How does one become What is it?
I didn't remember how it happened to me.
All right, now.
I was a teenager, and I was in bed when I was sleeping, and next thing I woke up and there was this guy on top of me with blood dripping all over and like warm blood. So I was probably attacked by one of these things. How many times were you good? I don't remember it happening one night, but I woke up when it was occurring. It could have happened before and after that night too. I just remember it once. And I woke up that was occurring. And you were willing to become a vampire. I was asleep when it was happening. I don't remember anything of it except I was asleep.
Well, when did you know what you were? Let's try that one.
Well, I figured out a little while later. I started liking to bite people. I started craving blood. What else? That was it. But I got very sharp teeth. And before you go out here, I like this. I don't like being out there in the daylight. I don't really care in the daylight. I see the black and white. I don't like you, the vampire. I'd like to be able to nice, but a lot of other people who listen. And I'm not going to like to bite people and blow blood. I guess that's what I do.
All right.
He was very good there for a second.
All right.
Started to slide at the end.
All right. All right. Well, I thank you both for the call. Have a good morning, both of you. As good as it gets for people who either hunt, I guess both hunt. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, I was wondering if you got my email.
Did I? Now, what kind of question is that? Now, see, you've got your radio on too. Already, that's two strikes. It's 2 strikes against you.
Turn it on.
There you go. Did I get your email?
Yeah.
How can you start a conversation like that? Do you know how much email I get? 300 to 400 pieces of email a day. So.
I've heard people ask you.
Okay, then, yes, I got your email. Thank you very much. Have a good morning. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello? Goodbye. East of the Rockies, you're on. Wait a minute. East of the Rockies, now you're on the air. Hello? Oh, I see what I've done here. I had this on, I'm sorry. On my on my Dracula line, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to make a few comments about the vampire hunter film.
Yes.
I just want to say a few things. For one, Steak and Garlic is their information they did me, but I actually do like Garlic on my steak. Another thing, when you called earlier, and she was wondering if she was quite interested in that person. The way she could find a nice vampire, look for a very sensual, very sensitive person.
And of course, that would be you.
Very much so.
Well, we'll leave it there. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Art, how you doing? Okay, my name is Michael. I'm calling you from outside of San Antonio.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to get back to you were making some comments about Elvis.
I was.
Missed the point on that.
Well, all right. Did you, my comments basically were, look, I like the guy had good music. I like his music. But I don't think he should be turned into somebody that people are worshiping. That's all.
Right, I agree with you. And I'm kind of wondering why Elvis, why make such a big thing. I mean, I remember hearing somewhere that earlier in the 20th century, Mickey Mouse, the swastika, and the Coca-Cola bottle, the 3 most recognizable icons of the time. And it seems like now, you'd have to throw the gray aliens, Elvis in there.
And Elvis, I think so.
And I don't really understand why. I mean, yeah, you could use it. Yeah, you're right.
It's becoming a cult. A religion. I saw on CNN the other day, and this was serious. Hundreds, thousands of people are going to this location where there is a bust of Elvis that cries. Serious. And they're going and visiting and virtually worshiping the crying Elvis.
That's true.
No stranger barrier. no stranger than my vampires.
We know stranger. I wanted to ask the priest that was on earlier.
Yes.
The blood, the communion.
Yes.
With my blood.
Yes.
I wonder if there's something there that ties back to it. Because, you're saying, you were talking about the lady with, I believe, lung transplant.
Yes.
And she was taking up memories of the donor and whatnot.
No question about it.
I remember hearing about a project scientists had, lasted the maze, they had learned the maze,
That's right.
killed the maze, killed the rat.
And fed the two other rats.
That's right.
And they knew the maze.
Exactly.
That's what troubles me about all this. And that's what had that young lady who called very interested.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Well, yes, I did. I talked to her about Claire Sylvia, I'm sorry. And she said yes. And I said, be honest with me. If you thought you could live, would you be a vampire? She said yes.
Well, yeah, it seems like there'd be something to that. I'm sure 97% of it is just myth and whatnot.
Maybe.
Like there'd be something that life force, to use a pretty general term.
Well, this vampire hunter, he sounded real too.
Yeah, he had it going up there. Hey, have you ever had Graham Hancock on your show?
Of course, and Robert Bravall as well.
Who's he?
Graham's partner in crime.
Okay.
That's a joke. I mean, in the investigation.
Do you know what they're up to now?
Well, I don't interview them frequently when they're in Great Britain because there's a delay that is unacceptable as you're trying to do an interview. When they come to the U.S., I interview them. So next time they're here, we'll have an interview.
Okay. And I suppose there's some way I can get you the tape of the show?
Yes, if you were to call the number that I have here and ask for the Graham Hancock interview, you could get it. And that number is, for everybody's reference, 1-800-917-4278. That's 1-800-917-4278. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, yes.
Well, that's weird. The delay, isn't it?
Yes. Turn your radio off. Then it would be weird.
Okay, it is off. Yeah, I got a comment about that vampire hunter.
You what?
I have a comment about the vampire hunter.
Yes.
I don't know if the vampires know that are real, but I think vampire hunters are fascist.
Why do you say that? I mean, if there are vampires out there, then the only way I can think of that you would call a vampire hunter a fascist would be if you were in league with the vampires. Otherwise, how could you hold that opinion?
Well, it's like, I think vampires, everyone has a right to exist. And then you have people out there whose purpose is to destroy these people.
Yeah, but I mean, the right to exist does not include the right to violate the civil rights, not to mention the neck of fellow citizens.
That's true.
Right? So, the vampire hunter, I mean, if there really are vampire hunters, unless you're a vampire, you should be really happy there's somebody out there taking care of business, so to speak.
I can see that. Although, one of the vampires you had on said he had a willing partner.
Well, I guess a good libertarian could suggest that would be all right. But a lot of the people that have been victims of these vampires are not willing.
Yeah. I suppose.
So there you've got a crime.
Yeah. And I suppose the vampire hunter would be good if, there's a murder spree going on. And
I mean, the guy's doing a job the police can't do, right?
mm-hmm.
The best the police are going to do is catch him and put him in jail, and he's going to feed off other prisoners. In this case, instead of handing the guy his head, he hands his head to his feet, and that's it. The vampire's gone. Society is safe.
Although I don't believe that vampires as a whole pose an enormous threat to society.
Well, perhaps not into the category of earthquakes, for example.
Yeah.
But still in all, if you're plagued by a vampire, you've got a very, very serious problem.
I would have to agree with that.
Well, I appreciate your call. I thought calling him a fascist was perhaps a bit extreme. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning.
I've been listening and hearing a lot about You know, and I wonder how mine got to trying to that. You know, you have like necessary elements for,
My guess would be, it would be a premium time for a vampire because of all the activity and the noise and the distractions going on, that sort of thing.
you know, all the, well, it sounds like it'd be a really, you have elements of like lust and, you know, disorientation and intoxication.
Pagan celebration.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be a time women for the strike, you know.
Well, that's probably why there's a lot of vampires in New Orleans, and that's why Anne Rice is down there, where she can investigate and write.
I think that's gonna be a lot in this country, because this country is kind of like the new Babylon. Everyone is like it these days.
Yeah, so there's liable to be more and more and more vampirism, not less.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I would.
What did you think of you wouldn't have called that vampire hunter a fascist, would you?
No, if they're real, I would support him as vampires. I mean, I think they're, you know, demonic.
There's an element of vigilantism certainly involved, but, you know, what can you do? I mean, the police aren't going to be able to handle it properly, are they?
No. Well, I think it's more of a spiritual matter. Sorry, it's more of a legal matter.
No, there you are. Thank you very much for the call. We're going to break here at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be right back from behind others. This is
West of the Rockies at 1-800-618-8255. 1-800-618-8255. East of the Rockies at 1-800-825-5033. 1-800-825-5033. This is the CBC Radio Network. It absolutely is. Remember, my first time caller line is now no longer the first time caller line. Only vampires can call that line. Area code 702-727-1222. You're a vampire. Only. Fax here from Kurt in Minneapolis who says, "Oh my gosh, I am totally 100% freaked out about tonight's callers. I am specifically concerned about my parents who live in Sarasota, Florida." Yeah, let's leave it there. BKXY. The cannibal guy was totally real. I was taken aback because of his candor, the tone and inflection of his voice. I just called my folks in Sarasota and begged them to get their Bibles and sleep with them tonight. They suggested I sober up. Good morning, first time caller line, actually vampire line, you're on the air. Are you a vampire? You're going to have to speak up louder into your phone.
Yes, sir, I am.
You are?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been such?
About 5 years now.
And how did you become a vampire?
It was an exchange of blood.
It usually is. And physiologically, how old are you?
I am physiologically 30 years old.
And how many years do you in fact think you've been here?
30 years, sir.
30 also. So in other words, you are a vampire, but you have not yet begun to.
I have no difference from
Anybody
anyone
else?
at this time.
Did you willingly become a vampire?
Yes, sir.
Have you willingly made others vampires?
No.
No?
No, never.
Have you taken blood unwillingly? In other words, have you searched out victims?
Never unwillingly.
So there's enough willing victims out there.
Usually,
You realize how this freaks people out, right?
yes, I can see that. And you know, I do listen to you, and rather I'm surprised that you would condone genocide. Your
As in the vampire hunter?
yes,
Well, I can see how you would consider it genocide, certainly.
I'm deeply disturbed, and I feel that this person has probably killed more wannabe delusional humans than actual vampires.
If that person were to kill you, would he be killing a delusional person or a real vampire?
He would be killing a real vampire if he were to kill me. But again, I don't think he would be capable of it.
Well, I've got to say this to you, and I understand that you realize from your you think from your perspective it is genocide, but you've got to realize that to those of us who are not one of you, we would consider what he does a service to humanity.
I pose this to you as a rational man, for the Jews who were killed, those of them who were not Jews doing the killing. Did they think they were doing a service to mankind? Obviously, were they? No, they were not. Just like every race, there are evil and there are good of that race.
But a vampire is by definition more than just a different racial or religious.
Religion has nothing to do with that.
Well, I was looking at your earlier example,
Yes.
right? So what I'm trying to suggest to you is that the analogy to the Holocaust is not a reasonable one in the sense that they were innocent people in every way. You as a vampire.
There are innocent vampires. We're vampires not of choice.
So you consider yourself then a victim.
I wouldn't call myself a victim.
Well,
I wouldn't consider myself someone who deserves to die in someone else's hands. I've never taken a life.
well, it's the feet, actually. Now, yes. So how many vampires do you think? I mean, it shocks me that I open a vampire line and I get so many vampires. Now that indicates to me that the good doctor, the minister who was on earlier, talking about vampirism, mainly in Hollywood, and then psychic vampirism, may be wrong, and there really are a lot of vampires out there. Are there a lot of vampires?
There are a few, but
Well, how could I possibly run into so many tonight?
again, like I said earlier, the delusional quantity. But you know, when he bought the fangs, when he did everything they could to look and found a vampire, most people.
All right, tell me something then, and everybody else, that separates you from the wannabes that you've heard.
Real vampires don't need to be seen or heard. They don't need the recognition. We're very kept to ourselves. We're not. Those vampires that I know that are real vampires, that is, I'm not saying that I know all of them. The ones I know themselves, that they're not the showy, flamboyant vampires who think. Their fangs, sharp fingernails, things of that matter. We are more subdued people than people would think.
Not flashy.
Very, very flashy. I've never had claim to be a real vampire.
Most of those, I'm sure, end up with their heads at their feet.
And probably not deserving of it.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you. I mean, what do you think about this? People claim to be vampires. Some of them sound unnervingly convincing. Modern America, 1997, coming up on the millennium. Vampires. Phew. On my international line, you're on the air. Okay. By all means, turn that radio off. Where are you? Oh, he's having
Hi, there you go.
Okay, where are you, sir?
Okay, I'm calling from Vancouver.
Vancouver, all right?
My name is Aaron.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I had a listening earlier on listening to the fellow who was from the Southern Florida,
Yes.
and I was thinking from the description of him, he almost sounds more like a loot guru, which is a more southern tale, and it's a form of a, I guess you call it a werewolf. The lunar cycle that he was talking about, 28 days,
Yep.
sounds very similar to that. And also living in the swamp as well. Maybe think of that.
There's no swamps in Vancouver.
No,
Just the fact that he lived in a swamp, I see.
yeah. But he lived in the swamp.
Sounded pretty real, didn't he?
Yeah, it does actually. I was listening to some other people and it didn't quite so real, but
Yeah, here's what you gotta think about. Whether or not you believe they're real vampires,
mhm.
the mere fact that so many people, I mean, I would open a vampire line and it rings off the hook.
Mhm.
You gotta think about that.
I know. Actually, I know some people around in Toronto in this area that have actually encountered a form of spiritual vampire.
It's a comment on modern America and probably Canada too.
But as far as I understood, some spiritual vampire is actually able to acquire physical form by taking over a willing animals.
Well, you know what I think?
Mhm.
I think Canadians are kind of laid back people compared to Americans.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is just sort of an average thing, right? I think more Canadians are a little bit laid back than Americans are, right?
Definitely.
Probably pretty good territory for a vampire.
Yeah, it was like Vancouver, there's areas downtown, Gaptown as well, but all the older cities,
There you are.
in the areas of that, which was something else I'm going to mention. You mentioned like New Orleans, you were wondering about possible reasons for that.
Yes.
And it was controversial.
Yes.
The areas, the feel of the areas and the actual atmosphere, I don't think would change all that much in that, over a period of time.
It would be the atmosphere, the old kind of mystical, semi-voodoo kind of atmosphere.
True, and also because the area doesn't change that much, you also have what would attract the vampire in the first place, the ambiance or whatever, it doesn't change over a couple of hundred years, so they tend to stay around in that area.
Good word, ambiance.
Thank you.
I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you from Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm not sure the ambiance would be just right in Canada. But I would think that there would be less of a struggle with any Canadians. On my vampire line, you're on here.
Hi, how are you?
Well,
Getting some calls that,
pretty strange.
yeah, it's probably pretty strange, and what I was most is, some people are obviously just playing games with you.
Think so?
Yeah, particularly the comment that I made about,
Well, no, wait a minute. Now, this is my vampire line. Are you claiming you are the real thing?
not happily, I was calling you because I'm bragging you.
But you nevertheless are the real thing.
I am seeking ways to get back to being normal.
I've always heard there really is no way back.
That's not true. I've heard of some ways that supposedly a couple people have made it back, but not many people want it because most of the ways are enticed by this idea of living forever. And
How long have you been alive?
a long time. Yeah, I really don't want to talk about it because people are there's skeptics out there, and it's a strong subject. But
It is, but I want to know. I'm honestly asking, how long do you think you've been alive?
I respect you. I don't say you long, but a long time, longer than nobody would normally be around. Now, I can give you the date, but
That's all right. Yeah, I can see you don't want to give that. So instead, I will ask, you obviously,
And you lose credibility,
Okay, well, you're dissatisfied with your life.
it's,
It's not a bed of roses.
no, there's some things that come up tonight that really alarm me, from just an understanding, I don't want to get, too carried away. Let me just say this, they haven't talked about why the age living in we're able to live longer, and it all relates to filtering of blood. I mean, people out there are criticizing taking the blood, but if you think about it, people get the one they fly the fetuses of yellow fetuses of what look like cars needed for breakfast. You couldn't eat until it smells like it's been freshly killed, so it's got that, that aroma. I mean, that's more disgusting than the blood ever is. And the blood that is controlled is, the vampire, simply because it's been filtered twice.
So in other words, a really good way to feed is on another vampire.
That's right, I'm right, it's novel, so it's like walking wheels, how much, I don't know what to call it, but it's
Walking wheels, wheels on wheels. All right, now, how do you spot another vampire?
well, there's, in a normal case, their business, and I'll tell you, the businesses they think there's six types. There's one type that's into the good side, and those are people that are into things that make the blood nice, chocolates or candy or something like that. Then there are the other kinds that think people are actually,
In other words, we are what we eat.
well, and certainly the people who supply you with, and by the way, you don't get AIDS or hepatitis B or any of that stuff somebody was talking about because it's not, the blood smells like garbage. It smells like the skin. Nobody has any problem with that. And the guy that's a cannibal is not a vampire. His stomach can't take it. I mean, that's ridiculous. And he's a cannibal who also happens to like blood. He's not into the blood product. He's not into digesting blood. He's into the meat. And digestion, not into the meat. Come on.
You can't be the heebie-jeebies. You really do sound real.
Well, I'm gonna get on with this. I hate it. I envy more than I envy their ability to love somebody, to grow old, to
So you don't have any of that. You don't even have the ability to love.
well, no. There's not even a bloodline. I mean, there's a blood flow moving over. There's no bloodline. There's no brother, sister. There's no kind of clone situation. Right? Anyway, I had to call it.
Would you rather be dead?
I would like to be dead as a human mortal, not dead. When you don't die, you don't consider yourself as dying as a person in the darkness. You die and you're destroyed. And you're destroyed as a vampire. You die as a human. You die as a soul. The whole different thing. And I have thought as hard as possible, and I'm seeking to do it. But you have to get off. You have to get off of your blood. If you don't, you're done. I am not going to be destroyed. I'm going to die.
What about animal blood?
No, I suppose I'm getting too deep, but I suppose it would be a revenant. There are revenants and there are vampires. Vampires, during their conversion process, which actually involves a form of death, get vampire blood. They're selected to, get it either for your hands or bad reasons or for good reasons. If people, do it voluntarily. The revenants don't get vampire blood and they're no more than, I suppose, a revenant. I don't know the revenants. I suppose they could get off and get into animal blood. I suppose it's possible, but I don't know that.
Excuse me, creeps.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to do that. I got a lot of stuff, but, it's just not there. So I don't want to take up the whole night. I call very reluctantly, but,
I understand.
I'm not calling you because I remember registering. So I would only call if we, paid for the call.
Well, even I know that's why I opened this particular line for that. I don't want to know where you are.
But you know, you tell us, okay, you know, this guy just tracks down, good or good and bad.
I thought that guy was for real,
Well,
the hunter.
okay, I'm just going to ask this, what is the motivation? I mean, if you're gonna track something, sure, if there's killing, there's a part of the world that I know that are very bad. I mean, to tell you things, yeah, a lot of them track down and destroy it. And he talked about killing them, and that's not the term. Because they don't.
Well, maybe he said killing so that we might, I mean, after all, that's what we understand as termination.
Yeah, and there are some, but it's just like everything else. There are some, my conversion, my transformation was not voluntary. It was done because of the lineage and because of my father actually had done a very bad, had actually done something what this person was contacting, tracks him down. He was done that, and he is right about one thing, it's stubborn. It doesn't look like it has to be certainly part of the body comes to or something like that, and certainly do it. But if he's tracking him down like that, I mean, what's the motivation? Is there something? I mean, I didn't get any motivation from him or something. He just don't say, well, gee, you know, I'm the family, we're all like race car drivers, we're going to kill them. I mean, come on.
Well, you essentially, though, just said exactly the same thing about your lineage, didn't you?
My lineage, well, that was because my father was attacked and defended himself quite successfully, and he was done in. Not only was he done in, but he was told that I was going to be named where I am, and as a full replacement for him before he was killed. And I know that out there is still the ones that did it. They're still out there. And I know someday they're coming for me. I like that. Anyway. You got a great show, and
Well, thank you, and I would like one day, do me a favor, try and reach me again next week, will you?
sure.
Good, I'll look forward to that. Thank you very much for the call. Boy, you know, this might fit the old saying, be careful what you ask for. Well, listen, a brighter day on Sunday. Daniel Wrigley is going to be my guest on Greenland Sunday, and then we'll be back again next week with who knows what. Good night. So the great American Southwest, I mean, across all these many time zones, from the Orion and Tahitian Island chain, all the way east over the country, to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands, all the St. Thomas, down to South America, north to the worldwide. Yes, worldwide on the other hand. This is Coast to Coast. Good to be with you. The programming note, who else would do this? It will keep the my show in the Western time zone at my time tonight. We'll do a show about UFOs and life from elsewhere, and that'll be about a half hour from now. Who else gives away their audience? Those of you that are in time zones that have already seen it, I wrote the last 5 minutes of it. Isn't that awful? We will, of course, record it here in half an hour. I wrote the last 5 minutes of it. And it seemed to leave the question open. I guess maybe I have no choice. If we don't know if life frequent is life infrequent, are we alone with a sad You know, that sort of thing. That's the very end. But I did not catch the body of the program. Somebody else wrote and said basically it was real good. But I wouldn't make that judgment until I saw it, and I will depend on your judgment. So my line all about the kind of things we talk about. Is taking roll on the wildcard line at 702-727-1295. That's 727-1295. First side callers can return bell at 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Now, here again, Art Bell. Yeah, once again, I am facing little Jewel Fair. New York, the city of Los Angeles, there was a resort from Northridge, several track dogs were basically skinned, all their hair pulled out, and the reproductive organs removed, taken. No suspects yet. Somebody suggesting satanic worshippers. Great. And that leads very nicely in this next meeting. Like this, it is from the state of Washington. And I've got some experience to it since I read into it several nights ago. Please, sir, you must listen to me. I have met an vampire on the internet. And for the last few days now, I've been afraid to sleep because of what might happen in my dreams. It is this vampire is using the net as a way to meet its victims. It also appears this particular vampire doesn't drink blood, but it does try to seduce you so it can steal your body for one of its demonic friends. On the night this all happened, I was so scared, I locked up the house, got out a white bar of soap, and marked all my windows with crosses. Here is a transcript of what occurred on the internet. It is 2 pages. And double type, so I'll be able to get through it here quickly. I was in this chat room, a kind of cyber singles bar located on the web. I was contacted by what I believe to be a female who introduced herself as Claudia. She told me she was a vampire, asked me if I wanted to chat. First, I thought it was some kind of stupid joke, so I agreed to chat. She sent me a description of herself. Here we go, right? Only she liked to dress up in black skin-tight spandex bodysuits with black knee-high, high-heeled leather boots and black leather gloves. She described herself as looking as if she was 17. Actually, she was much older. She said she had white, almost pale-colored skin, long dark hair, big brown eyes, long slender legs, and a small oval face. Oh, cute, huh? I asked her if she was going to suck my blood or something, and she told me real vampires don't do that. He said that if I wanted her, I mean really wanted her, that I would give her my soul. I said, okay. She said that tonight she would come to me in my dreams, and that tonight I would be a king. She also told me if I wanted it, that she could come to me in any form, male or female. I told her I loved women and that she would do just fine. She said that tonight I would journey to the other world. She said that tonight I'd be king. Tomorrow I would be one of them. She told me the land of the dead and the world of dreams are one and the same. I was then told to remove any religious symbols or pictures in Christian Bibles from my room. I was told that if possible, I should leave some access to my room open. I was also told that she had some problems going through doors, windows, and walls. I was even told that the sex could be 10 times better if I would just take the time to break an egg into a small bowl and then urinate on it. I was told I should sprinkle some urine on my feet before I went to bed at night. Look, I was told that the bowl was supposed to be placed at the foot of my bed. The egg and urine was supposed to be some kind of offering. I was told the offering was being made to its Tuxaman, whoever that is, Tuxaman. She then promised me the best sex I'd ever had. She told me my orgasm would last forever, that when I awoke, I'd be in another world, a world of magic and dreams. She told me that this new world was also known as the etheric plane. She told me when she came for me, my soul would leave my body. She said that once I was in her arms, she'd break the fine silver cord attached to the top of my head, and that my body would be given to another, someone much stronger. Finally, she said that the other name for this person, this someone, was the soul sucker. That's it. Then I received these. Art, remember a few shows ago when you read a fax on the air? That it was from someone who said they met a vampire on the internet somewhere on aRT. Well, I'll tell you, I've been hunting for her because I want to ask her some questions. And I won't do anything to get myself, quote, in trouble, end quote, right? Believe me. Well, that guy said her name was Claudia. And I went into a vampire room and asked someone if they'd seen her. They have vampire rooms. Anyway, he said he spoke to her yesterday. Maybe it's the same Claudia or not. But I think it is, and I'll keep you posted. By the way, that night when you read the facts, I really couldn't and didn't want to sleep. It was kind of frightening to me. And yes, the listener who sent the account of the internet vampire is indeed doomed. This particular vampire is an incubus or succubus, a sexual predator who steals souls from unknowing individuals, draining them like the classic vampire. Usually, they can be warded off with any religious symbol, as long as the faith of the user is strong. In other words, a cross would work if you don't believe in God. I will dominate in Washington as well. So there you got it. The ancient, the occult moves to the new, the amazing, the enveloping internet. Truly a marriage made in hell. I read the internet vampire story a few moments ago, and now I have received this. Listen now. Arthur, I've been away for some time now, but I returned tonight to hear you speaking of Claudia and her exploits on the internet's IRC channels. I fear the harm has already been done, but I sincerely hope if you read this to your audience, it will help to curb some of what is certain to occur. Our friend Claudia is indeed an immortal. I think she calls herself a vampire simply because there are so many people, especially on the internet, who are fascinated with vampires. Now, see, I didn't know that. She uses Claudia because that is the name of the child vampire in Anne Rice's novel, Interview with the Vampire, which has been recently brought to life in the form of a movie. I just have to say to all of those people who have heard your show that what Claudia and her type are doing is purely evil. And by reading that letter, not only have thousands of victims been lured to the vampire rooms on the internet, but many of Claudia's kind are now aware of the grand pool of victims present there as well. Indeed, as you have undoubtedly surmised, there are a great deal of immortals who listen to your show. Yes, I know that. Please, to all those listening, do not fall victim. You will lose your soul. As some callers have previously stated, religious symbols will protect the faithful. However, there are immortal predators that are not affected by that sort of thing. So there you have it. And then this art, vampires on the internet. Well, what do I say? Superstition lives, eh? Maybe you should open a vampire line, Matt, in Portland. Matt, you're a genius. Yes, a vampire line. I have never talked to a vampire. Now I've got a computer sitting right here. I'm half tempted to go up there and take a look and see if there are vampire rooms. I've never seen one. Anyway, I hereby and officially, and I will screen the calls. I'm warning you ahead of time. I have special function lines. I screen my calls. Yes, a vampire line. Are there really any vampires out there? Now, you know, this is a great promo for the show that I'm going to be doing Sunday, because I'm going to be doing the first program I've ever done on Dreamland on vampires. Konstantinos is going to be my guest, author of Vampires, the Occult Truth. And you can darn well bet I will save this story, internet story, for Konstantinos. And we're going to do a show about vampires. But in the meantime, I thought tonight that Matt here in Portland is dead on the money. Let us do it. Let us open a vampire line. Only vampires, real vampires. Anybody caught joking around, if I can recognize your voice, and after all the years of doing this, I'm getting very good at that. Anybody joking around will be ejected for all time, eternal, on this program. So unless you're a serious vampire, don't you call this line. Only real vampires. Serious vampires. Area code 702-727-1222. That is, as of this moment, my vampire line. 702-727-1222. Agents, soul suckers. Are they real? Apparently, they are on the internet. Let us see what we've got here on my vampire line. You are on the air.
Good morning, Eric. This is Wade. Yeah, so for the Florida, Sarasota, WKXY.
Yes.
My policy began March 6th, 1996 in New Orleans. And at a place called the Dungeon.
That's where you met somebody, I take it?
It's just the most amazing place, most amazing thing that ever happened to me.
That was
Walking there, beautiful gal, white skin, black lips, dark eyes, dark hair, with four white buttons, most amazing club arms, and things like that. And
and obviously, it don't get into any more graphic. Of course, but I mean, what happened to you?
A feeling of, boy, is there anything I can say. Well, that was just totally beyond anything I ever expected. I'm 42.
Were you seduced?
Absolutely.
Did you promise your soul in return for this seduction?
No. No, it was just one thing that one thing led to another, and I have witnesses, and
well, you said a lot of things without saying anything. I want you to tell me what happened.
Rather personal, and without getting pornographic, rather personal is just
All right, well, look, from what I read, this letter that I read from the internet, it seemed quite clear that the seduction was occurring to obtain that prison soul. And that was the trade-off.
I don't have a soul. I had a soul up to March 6th.
Oh, so you're saying
Something happened.
You're saying you have lost your soul.
Something has happened. I've been in a bad limbo, a bad kind of situation. It's just But at the same time, it's the most pleasurable thing that you can imagine.
That's exactly what this other person said. Are you not concerned for your soul?
Being a Christian, as I have been my whole life,
He says he's lost his soul and he's not concerned. He's lost his soul and he's not concerned. Did you hear that? And then I want to hear from Nashville because did you hear about the alien in the Nashville area? Apparently, a man heard some commotion outside his house, and when he went outside, what he saw, what he guessed was an alien. It ripped up his porch and bit his dog. The man appeared on the local news here in Nashville and declared he would take a lie detector test if necessary. I tell you more, but I've been catching the tail end of the news reports, and I can't find it in the paper. Someone in Nashville will have heard about it. What about it, Nashville? What's going on? Ripped up his porch, bit his dog. So east of the Rockies, if anybody can help us with this story, we'll follow up. So the east of the Rockies line is 1-800-825-5033. 1-800-825-5033. And now, to my vampire line, you're on the air. Hello, hello.
I can give you several bits of proof. I tell you the industry that I'm in right now. I'm in the telemarketing industry. And I touch base with somewhat vampire like actually. Hundreds of people every day. Bob Peake, who's a well-known author, is a personal friend of mine.
All right, well, I don't want to identify you too closely. You're telling us you really are a vampire.
I really am a vampire.
All right, first of all,
Let me just clear up a couple of things, though.
please, in other words, what is a vampire? So we all might understand. You know the facts I read, I take it on the internet deal?
I'm afraid that I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm trying to get you that. All right, well, anyway, go ahead.
And first of all, I have the ability to self-realize through things that I naturally have. However, I don't need to do that as far as things like garlic, other things like that, sunshine, sometimes a bunch of BS.
Yeah, I suspected that.
It doesn't hurt you at all. As far as super strength and super adrenaline, that's absolutely true.
How about crosses and bios?
It actually has, it depends on your inner self and your own belief and your own faith and your level, you know, within the cult. But actually, that shouldn't be too much of a hindrance either.
Are you in what you would call a cult?
I'm not in a cult. And I will say this. There are certain projections from my existence that do affect on a cosmic level sometimes different events that unfold as a direct result of situations that have been imposed on me in a negative manner. Negative energy feeds on negative energy. And the darker and the deeper the negative energy is, the more power that comes out of that negative energy.
When a vampire takes from another, is a vampire taking the soul? And the soul of that, or what we know think of as a soul?
As a vampire, I can define for you the actual definition of a soul. Every living thing on the planet is surrounded by an electromagnetic field.
I believe that.
When you die, that electromagnetic field is released from your vessel. Housed within that energy is the essence of your soul.
Your essence.
Whether you are recycled into the vast electromagnetic field created by the core of the Earth, whether you escape the Earth and you go to the solar system, the center of electromagnetic energy in our solar system, and you're not going to believe this, but this is true. Jupiter has a great effect in this realm.
Well, what we're asking here, obviously, is, and I appreciate that definition. I don't necessarily disbelieve that. But are you able to interfere with that transition and, in effect, take that energy or that essence from a person?
Absolutely, 100%. You can actually feed on this energy. It is a massive energy. It affects computer systems. It affects electrical circuitry. It affects the photoelectric cells in street lights. It affects psychological behavior in humans.
Do you regard yourself as evil? You mentioned darkness, the darkness.
If you walk out into a dark pasture and you don't feel afraid, does that make you evil because you're surrounded by darkness and you feel comfortable?
I'm not sure how to answer that. So you're saying it's subjective.
Absolutely.
All right, I really appreciate your call. Thank you. And that gives me something to think about. It is subjective. Evil is subjective, is it? Is evil subjective? I never thought so. I thought evil was a real, tangible thing. But I can understand those who are involved in it. If taking of the essence of another makes you more powerful or immortal, then from his point of view, it is a subjective thing. So he would likely call it, or a vampire would not likely call it evil, would they? Interesting. All right, listen, my wife, having had a nap, is now up on the internet trying to help me in my search for a vampire. And so actually she's on AOL in the chat room. And here's the way you get there. You go on America Online, and she will be using my name. That's how you know it's her. She'll be using the name art bell. So you go on America Online. Just go and hit keyword at the top of the screen and type in art bell. ART BELL. It'll take you, you'll see a little photograph of me, and then you'll see someone will say the grassy knoll chat room. Check that, and you will go in there, and there she will be. And she will be searching or vampires in there. Meanwhile, we will continue searching for vampires. That last one that I had on had a ring of some truth to it. So the vampire line remains open at area code. What other radio show ever does anything like this? Area code 702-727-1222. Vampires only, real ones too. Now, Eastern Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, guys, this is Robert New Orleans.
Hello, Robert. That's Ann Rice country.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about some of these people calling themselves vampires. A vampire can't take the soul unless you're willing to give it to them.
I believe that's right, yes.
That is exactly true. If Baltimore is right.
Did you hear the man, though, who called earlier and said that he had been in a certain club there in New Orleans, as a matter of fact?
That's what I'm going to tell you about. I had my bachelor party there.
You did.
There was 25 of us who, in the condition we were in, could have took them for all that they wanted it.
In other words, if she'd been pretty enough, and she would have been after that many beers.
All that tricks, now they could have just grabbed up a bunch of us in a heartbeat.
You'd take one look at her, you'd have said, yes! And she'd have said, so what? And you'd have said, yes, sure!
It's not even 4 floors so crazy. It's a little small place on the corner. It's not big enough to be something like that. Now, a bunch of strange people hang out there.
No, wait a minute. This is no rap on the place. This is simply where he met that person, that's all.
Well, I don't believe that for a heartbeat. I mean, I go down there, I live here, I go to the corner all the time.
So you're trying to tell me you do think it's his place?
No, they could. There's nothing but vampires that wouldn't be.
No.
They wouldn't shoot it up.
Well, but you see, a vampire, yeah, it could be anywhere. A vampire could be on the internet, a vampire could be in a club, a vampire could be somebody you meet in the grocery store, for all I know.
No, this is voodoo country.
I know it is. I know it is.
The protected by that law was legally around the place. Now, this is where zombies come from, where people are put under spell to use certain things. Not really for.
Do you believe that about New Orleans? I mean, is it that mystical place?
For some people, a lot of people want to believe that. It draws a lot of tourists because of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you believe it? It's not like it used to be.
No. That was just a real big party.